Breaking news today. Is Putin after something by having Russian nukes hosted in Minsk? Moscow has recently ramped up its nuclear threats, formalizing an agreement with Minsk on the stationing of Russian tactical nuclear weapons, due to concerns over an impending Ukrainian counteroffensive supported by NATO's backing of Kyiv. The 16-month-old conflict in Ukraine has been sharply escalated by the agreement signed on Thursday to redeploy part of Russia's vast nuclear arsenal to Belarus. This is the first nuclear arms transfer beyond Russia's borders since the fall of the Soviet Union. Experts see Moscow's decision to move nuclear arms closer to Ukraine and other NATO members Poland, Latvia, and Lithuania, all of which border Belarus, as mainly an act of political posturing designed to intimidate the West and incite widespread fear of Russian nuclear weapons use in Europe. The main objective for Russia, according to Temple University Japan political science professor James D.J. Brown, is to prevent the West from backing Ukraine. The Kremlin's calculation is that, if they can convince the West that backing Ukraine could lead to a nuclear conflict, the United States and European countries will become hesitant about providing additional arms and financial support to Kyiv, he added. Russian President Vladimir Putin, say experts, may be sending a message that Moscow is not fighting alone. According to Andres Ganin, a Stanton Nuclear Security Fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations, this is consistent with how Russia conveyed its recent meetings with China, showing there are other states that support its resistance to what it describes as Western aggression. Moscow's decision, which it has cast in terms of its perception of Western hostility, may have far-reaching consequences if the West does not change course. The renewed nuclear arms rivalry with NATO and the risk of nuclear proliferation are both heightened by the recent deal, which follows a 2021 request for the transfer of nuclear materials from Belarusian strongman Alexander Lukashenko. There could be serious repercussions for Belarus as well. Some worry that Belarus will become Russia's next annexation target as Moscow increases its political influence and military presence in the neighboring country. This is because hosting Russian nuclear weapons makes the country a potential target for the West. Construction of storage facilities in Belarus is expected to be complete by July 1, shortly before a NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania. Neither country has revealed when or how many Russian tactical nukes would be kept in Belarus. Tactical nuclear weapons are lower-yield weapons designed for use on the battlefield, as opposed to strategic nuclear weapons which can level entire cities. It is estimated that Russia possesses around 2,000 such warheads that can be carried by aircraft, missiles, or artillery. All of Europe is well within range of Russia's strategic nuclear weapons. In addition, experts note that NATO might respond in kind to the stationing of these higher-yield, strategic weapons in Belarus, setting the stage for a nuclear standoff. Experts consider Moscow's deployment of only short-range tactical systems to be a controlled escalation. The Kremlin's goal was to unsettle Europe's support for Ukraine while not bolstering Kyiv's position too much. Ganin speculates that Russia intends to equip the Iskander-M ballistic missiles, which have already been transferred to Belarus and used in the conflict in Ukraine with conventional warheads, with nuclear weapons. These missiles have a range of 500 kilometers. The Belarusian missile launches would also reduce the response time for Ukrainian air defense units, which is an advantage for Russia. According to William Alberkey, Director of Strategy, Technology, and Arms Control at the International Institute for Strategic Studies, this would give Moscow more strike options by allowing it to launch nuclear-armed cruise missiles from either Russian territory or warships in the Black Sea. Therefore, Ukraine would have to radically alter its air defense and logistics supply points if Belarus were to station nuclear-armed missiles. Short-range missiles can now be fired in more directions, increasing the danger to potential targets, as Ganin put it. According to Ganin, Ukraine has had a lot of success in shooting down missiles aimed at Kyiv, but if it now has to spread those systems out to cover the country's north, this could potentially weaken their air defenses. This is also true for logistics supply points, which may now have to be moved out of range. However, experts agree that the transfer of nuclear weapons is unlikely to deter either NATO or Kyiv. This is because Putin has been playing the nuclear card ever since the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February of 2014. Although NATO is expected to reiterate that the use of nuclear, chemical, or biological weapons will not be tolerated, Gannon predicts that the alliance will keep the exact consequences of Russia using such weapons secret. Modern artillery systems, F-16 fighter aircraft, and additional air defense systems are just some examples of the military, financial, and humanitarian aid the alliance is expected to continue providing to Ukraine.